Everyone, we will be talking about session 2 in this revision video, and we will talk about how to conduct the session in your class as SLs. First things first, remember always before starting the session, you have to read through the session very, very thoroughly and make sure you know what are the different materials that you will need for conducting the session. And page 20 will tell you that in session 2, we have 4 different activities, and the materials that you will need are hat stickers, object cards, and condition cards. Here, you remember during the training, we told you that condition cards means bonus cards. Have these 3 ready and make sure you know where they are. So let's begin how to conduct the session. In page 21, you know that this is the page that you will use as a Unit 1 roadmap, and you will tell them that session 2 is the first session of Unit 1 called Driven by Design, and you will tell the students that we are going to be understanding the importance of tiny design details in solving a problem. Then, quickly before we start about activities, remember how to use the narrative page. Here you have the materials needed, which are the hat sticker pages for activity 1. And the purple part is where you can use to say in your classroom. The top one is to begin the activity and the bottom one is to end the activity. And this part is used for knowing how to conduct the session. And the things to note is for you to make sure you have conducted that activity successfully. And make sure before the session begins, read the teacher role that is written here in red. And if you think you need more help from teacher, make sure you tell the teacher. So let's quickly say what activity 1 is. And activity 1, we are going to introduce what Driven by Design unit is that we will do using the roadmap. And then we will tell them that we are going to practice about norms and thinking hats. So norms, here what you can do is you can tell them that we have to work together. We are going to be a little mindful when we are talking. We are not talking so loudly that we are disturbing the other teams. And for the thinking hat activity, remember that in session 1, we have already talked about 4 other hats on page number 15. So use page 15 and page 23 to reintroduce what thinking hats are. And the activity is basically about how they read these sentences that are here, and they are going to discuss with their team and stick the correct hat for each situation. Remember that sometimes there can be 2 hats for one situation, and that's totally dependent on how the student understands the situation. If you are done early, make sure you are discussing what would you do if you are in that situation. Tell the students to do that. Okay, and it's not compulsory that they finish all of them, and it's also not compulsory for them to get all the right answers. Okay, and in your SL book, after page 25, you have the answers here. So you can just read them out if you have time. And if the students are confused about the hats, tell them that it's okay and you can share the answer. And if you're extremely confused of if they got the right answer and the answer is wrong here in the book, that's also okay. Ask your teacher to explain what happens if the answer is completely different from what is in the book. That's about activity 1. Make sure they are sticking the hats neatly. And yes, and remember that you have to remind them that we are going to imagine wearing these hats when we are doing the activities from now. Activity 2 is about 20 minutes, and in this activity, we are telling them that what exactly is design. And again, read through the narrative to help you understand more. In a gist, you will ask the students to maybe read, one person can read one element here, and you will explain using this page in your SL copy. After that, give them time to sort of read through all these 4 pages, which show how the design details are changing for one single product, which is a teacup. You can do however you want. Either you can read these individually with your team, or you can ask your team to read on their own and then just discuss. Now, after explaining what the design is, this page number 33 is when you will use to tell them that to understand design details and tiny design details, you have to sort of look at the sketch of a diagram or sketch of a product. And you will tell them to look at that sketch and observe the different details present on it. You can ask one student to read what is written in each box, or you can do it yourself. Now ask them to look at their pencil box and compare what are the different details they have in their pencil box. Remember that there are 2 new words here. Read them out for the students. After they look at a sketch, tell them that sometimes when we look at a sketch, we'll have some good things to say about it and some bad things, or some things that can be improved. And how do you give feedback? We have to make sure we will be kind and we will comment on the object and the sketch and not at the person who's doing that, who has done that product. That's about activity 2. Now in activity 3 is when they're going to test whatever they learned. They have learned that there are different design details, right? So now what we will do in activity 3 is that we are going to look at 3 different sharpeners and we are going to try and identify the different details and functions that are there. So page 36, 37 and 38 will be the students doing or identifying the different design details in each image of the sharpener. And it's okay if they are writing something different from what is there in your SL copy. Let them explore and let them write and help them. Make sure they are doing it together. All 3 of them or all 4 of them in your team are talking. And when this is happening, I want the SLs to go around their teams and make sure they're writing correctly and understanding what are the things to do in each page. Here you can see after page 38 in your SL books, you have some details given and the reason why the detail is there to solve some problem. So that is how you will explain. After reading this, you will move on to activity 4, which is a fun game of how we will change design elements to solve some needs. Read the activity 4 narrative to understand how to exactly do it. And here, make sure the teacher role is explained to the teacher. And here you can see after the session, there is a small homework that is there where one person can do it or one person from team can do it. Make sure you're conveying this through the teacher. Here you can see, use page number 40 to first explain what we are doing. There are always 2 questions. One question is about the design details of that product. And the second question will be how we can change it to solve a particular problem. Here you can see there are some food items that cannot be cooked in this utensil. So that means you have to ask your cluster to say what are the different food items that can't be cooked and then tick the design detail that should change to solve that problem. They can also draw it here if you have time. Similarly, you will have different object cards in your makerspace box, which will be labeled as session 2. And you will pick them and you will give one object card to each student. And here one important thing to remember is that each object card should be solved individually by the team member and then only you will proceed to give the bonus cards. It's okay if you want to skip the bonus cards if there is no time. But make sure when they are doing the object cards, you are going through the process very clearly. Use the next few pages to look at the answer and share the answer. Make sure you're telling them the correct answer. And again, no need to excessively correct them. And they don't need to change their answers also. Okay. And if they're done, ask them to fill this small quiz that is there as a team. They have to solve it together as a team. And you can use this page to correct them. This is about session 2. And this is also a small homework thing. You don't have to discuss this actively in the class. That's it for session 2. All the best.